Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Peyton, and I am with the Southern Trust Mortgage marketing team. And today I'm going to be talking about social media and some tips that you could be implementing for growing your accounts and creating a more engaged audience. I know a couple people threw it in the chat, so thank you, or unmuted. So I just asked right off the bat of who is currently using any social media for growing your business. And it feels like a few people are. Sarah added some helpful insight too about using outside companies to help generate content, getting a few likes here and there, but maybe not, seeing the engagement or going viral as some people are hoping for. So hopefully today, and we're going to learn some tips that can help you do that. So the first thing I want to introduce to you guys is the importance of SEO or search engine optimization. There is an astronomical amount of content that's being added to the internet daily, with an estimate around 400 million terabytes of content and data added on a regular daily basis. So with that, there's a lot of content and information being thrown at people. So SEO is a useful tool. Within the digital space to help fight the noise of that overwhelming amount of content, to hopefully help you stand out. Other ways that this can help you is to help generate traffic, get more people to your page that you haven't already invited or have met before, increase your visibility, again, getting in front of more people, and hopefully grow your following and thus getting you some business. So some key tips to keep in mind with SEO, is that it's actually a lot easier to implement in your social strategy than you may think, just because it has like a name like SEO. It's really outlandish and expanded. It's actually a lot easier than you think to put that into play with your social strategies. So here are a few things to keep in mind, and I'll expand on them over the next few minutes. To keep in mind to ensure that your content that you're posting is sharing is fully optimized. The first is starting with the foundation. So this is your profile itself. This means making sure that your profile is fully up to date, the information's accurate. If you've recently left a company or you've gone through different places or had title changes, making sure that everything is up to date and searchable. You can also keep your usernames consistent across your profiles. I know Facebook has the option to make a URL username, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those have the opportunity. So being consistent across all of those platforms will be very beneficial for you. The second is to treat captions like web copy, um, which means that the social algorithm itself kind of now functions like how a search engine like Google would be, just with the amount of mass content that's on there. TikTok and Instagram use semantic search, meaning that they analyze the text of your caption to help categorize your content and being put in front of the people who are looking for similar or like-minded content. You can also put your strongest keywords at the beginning of the caption or phrase your caption to follow along with what people are searching for. So if it's something that you really want to get in front of people, you could also start it with a question like, what are first-time home buyers looking for? Things like that are really going to help push your content, especially if it's something more designed versus an organic event or a training or something that you're actually doing and taking a picture of. Um, Similarly, search engines like Facebook, Google, they can't see an image necessarily. It's really hard for them to read the data behind what the image is. So if you have a picture with a lot of text on there, it's really hard for the picture and for the different platforms to read that and push that out. So you want to also make sure that again the captions follow along with that, and also to avoid how the internet will push um, auto-generated descriptions. Some platforms allow you to manually add alternative text into the keywords to help you become more searchable. And let me add this person in. And lastly, SEO isn't just about discovery, it's about building trust and relationships with your following. You can use a tool like Linktree or a dedicated landing page to bridge that social traffic to your different platforms or your website. which will also create referral traffic through these backlinks. So having, again, similar URLs, similar links that can be found to drive traffic to the different pages you're getting to and referring to will help you be more optimized with your different social strategies. So before I go into some posting tips, does anybody have any questions? Not seeing in the chat, but feel free to unmute again if you have any questions. I know there's a lot that can be put into place with social media. But now that we've covered SEO, with the content that you're creating, here are some goals to keep in mind with each post. And once I introduce each of these boxes, we'll go into it a little bit further and with some tips on how you can do that. So knowing your audience is key and catering your content to what your target audience is interested in. So for example, if you specialize with working with VA loans, posting more military and VA loan focused content is going to help target exactly who your audience is. Quality over quantity means posting meaningfully, not spamming your audience, and focusing on genuine content. We'll talk about content calendars in the next few slides, but you do not need to have a post every single day. You do not need to overfill your feed because then that will become too much for your audience and lead to people unfollowing you. So posting more meaningful content, being more mindful of what you're sharing is also going to help you with growing your page. Social media is about strategic storytelling, so you do want to build a community, engage with those people who are commenting and interacting with similar accounts. So following your peers, following other people within the industry, following your partners, and then engaging with their content too, because obviously, like you would want them to comment, like, and share your posts. You should also be doing the same for some of their posts that are relevant to you and your audience. Again, with storytelling, and building that relationship on social media, you don't want to just be posting to post. You want to be a little bit more mindful with what you're sharing. And lastly, a tip to kind of keep in mind, especially for some people, I know Mike mentioned he's on Instagram and Facebook. If you are on multiple platforms, you can post, and I would recommend posting all of the different posts onto each platform. They will perform differently. I've seen that happen in the past, especially with a lot of video content. Some things may do a lot better on Instagram, and then you post the same exact video on TikTok and it doesn't do as well. Each platform has your own different audiences, so you're going to be reaching more people. So I do recommend posting it to those different platforms to see how they go. So to break that down further, starting with knowing your audience, this is a great tool within Facebook Meta, is to review your insights. So a lot of this part right here is tailored to Facebook and Instagram business pages. So if you don't currently have a business page, I do recommend either getting one created or starting it up, or if you have a regular Instagram that you're using for business, maybe transitioning it and linking it all up to a Facebook business page, because you'll have access to all of these insights that you may not have previously had access to. That will help you, again, know your audience, create the content that is relevant for them, and then grow your page. So within that, some key things to keep in mind. There's a lot within the Metasphere, and I'll show you. But performance insights, optimal posting times, and audience demographics really gives you key insight of who your audience is and what they're looking for. So these next few slides are just screenshots that you can find directly in Meta. If we have more questions about it after the presentation, I can hop into Meta and show you this further in depth. But the first is Insights on the left-hand side. It says Insights. It'll take you to a page similar to this one, where you can get an overall snapshot of how things are performing, especially within over the last week, what your reach is, what you're doing, and then you can break that further into each platform and how things are performing. You can also view audience insights to get an idea of the age demographics of people you're following. Maybe if you are trying to target more younger first-time buyers, you could create the content to tailor that to hopefully skew these boxes in one way or the other. Or if maybe one tier is higher, again, it helps you tailor the content that you're sharing either to appease your current demographics or create the content to reach the demographics that you'd like to be targeting. It also gives you an idea of the cities of people who are following you and engaging with your content. That could be an opportunity for some ads if you wanted to reach different markets that you are able to work with, to hopefully, get into those spheres as well. And lastly, something that I find really interesting is that you are able to see all of your post performance stats in one spot. You can filter it by what's getting the most likes and reactions, most comments and shares, or just do it by date published. So from there, you can filter within a certain time range of what's performing really well and how can we do more things like this, or what is a post that I thought was going to do really well and didn't, and how can we improve? So next up with quality over quantity, I know it's kind of a simple thought to keep in mind, but I mentioned a content calendar, and I do recommend to kind of have some sort of content calendar in mind, whether it looks like an actual calendar or it's just an Excel spreadsheet, because you want to allow for more impromptu posts or having some sort of regular cadence to keep in mind. This is a sample one that I just created really quick in Canva to give you an idea of what your content calendar could look like. And it doesn't even need to be as detailed as this with all these different content types and themes, but just gives you a general idea of what your month could look like at a snapshot. This allows you to be more consistent with your posting and not having multiple week-long stretches of no content, allows you to find spaces for you to engage with people. Let me add this one person. But also allows for a lot of flexibility if an event were to come up or if you have certain closings in mind that you didn't already have on your calendar, it allows you to go ahead and add those pieces in. Another key tip before I hop out of this content calendar section to keep in mind is if you have the ability to pre-schedule posts that you know of, I do recommend doing that. You can also do that through Meta or through Facebook or those respective platforms, but then you know that you have content going out that day and you don't need to have an actual calendar reminding you to go in and post something for a certain holiday or an informational piece. These next two are a little bit more simple, so there's not much to expand on here, but just creating your community, follow similar creators, follow creators that you aspire to be like, or maybe other industry professionals, or if they share information that's relevant to you or your audience, to share that as well, and then to like, comment on their posts and reciprocate that. Similar with cross posting, if you have multiple platforms, you do want to cross post these different platforms to maximize your reach. You can also utilize one primary social platform that you're on the most, and then post anything and everything onto there, and then post relevant content onto other channels if you don't want to go post every single thing. But it doesn't hurt, especially if you don't really have much of a strategy right now, is to get content on all of your platforms to really maximize the reach and the audience that you're having. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, so we can go ahead and keep going.
Hey, Peyton, can I interject something?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
So I heard Sarah mention earlier she hired an outside company.
Mhm.
We also, correct me if I'm wrong, can do some joint marketing with loan officers and agents and things like that on social media. Is that correct?
Yes. So within, that's actually a really good point, and it kind of follows suit with cross posting. And if I'm not answering your question correctly, let me know. Um, but you can, there's something called collaborative posts. So it's similar to like tagging somebody. If you were to post, let's say we posted today's training and you posted it and you wanted to make Southern Trust a collaborator, it's similar to tagging, but then it allows it to be on our feed or someone else's feed too, to really reach the followers. So it would act as if it was a post on our page. So that's another way to cross post and reach more people. But you could also have it branded with other people's information as long as all the required disclaimers are on there, depending on what the content is. But there are a lot of opportunities to cross post tagging um, and the collaborative posts. Oh, this one was James, do you have a question? I don't know if you were meant to be off mute.
No, I'm supposed to be on mute. Sorry if y'all hear my puppy whining.
You are all good. All right, so we'll keep going. That was a great question, Mike. I wanted to throw this in here because I learned this recently and I thought it was very interesting, is that it's a fun fact. Hashtags are no longer required or needed to help grow your page or grow your posts or get more reach. Um, a lot of the pages now have a limit of five, so you can still do a few if you think they're relevant, but they're not going to make or break your post and get you more visibility within the different social algorithms. They've really adapted, the different platforms have adapted to focus on the content itself and the caption. Um, and if it's relevant to different people, it'll then push to other platforms. So you can still go viral, if that's your case here with some of the posts. Yeah, Chase, literally. Hashtag no hashtags. Um, it's not required, so it's not something you need to think about as part of the social strategy overall. If you're doing them and they're working for you, I'm not going to stop you. But if you're still getting started, you don't need them, especially on Facebook. You don't need them. And with the growing use of AI, I just always feel like obligated to include a little blurb about AI, especially for using social media. Just a few do's and don'ts with using AI. Um, Use it to generate content ideas, help you generate a content calendar. If you were on our AI training a few months ago, you may have heard a little bit about that, where you can ask AI very specific prompts and develop content calendars and ideas of when you should post it that month. Being specific of what you want, and also fact check before you post. AI is very smart and will create a lot of good content. And the more you use it, the more it'll adapt to your tone of voice, but it's not always right. So definitely fact check before you post. And also, don't post AI generated content. People can tell. You may not think it, but people definitely can tell. Um, don't post without proofing. Again, always review everything that you're posting before, especially if you have AI completely write it. Don't lose your voice. AI is adapting to using your tone of voice as you use it more. But you do want to keep your social platforms personalized and personal to you. And don't over rely on it, because you still want to be yourself on social and create the content that's most meaningful to you and your audience. That is all that I have. Like I said, I wanted to keep this super casual and allow for a lot of questions with today's presentation. I feel like I typically get a lot of social media questions, so I wanted to open it up to you guys if anybody had any questions about social media, growing your strategy, or getting started. Feel free to unmute, throw it in the chat. While we wait, again, just a reminder, a lot of these tools are more beneficial from a business standpoint to have a business page. So Facebook business page, Instagram, professional pages, things like that are going to help you be pushed, especially in front of people who may not already be following you. And I'm not seeing any other questions.
Peyton, this is great information. I just wanted to say this is Dennis calling, and I see some good people on here, and thank you for jumping in. But this is really good stuff, especially for the older people out there that are not used to doing their social media, and having this be me being one of them, by the way. But I've really come a long way on just the help of you and your team helping me just get acclimated with what really should be out there and whatnot. So I think this is great stuff and more to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, with that, thank you everybody for hopping on today. Really appreciate good audience, good questions, and a lot of good engagement. Hopefully everybody learned at least one thing today to help get your social journey started in the new year. If you have any questions for our loan officers, just email marketing, or for our agent partners, ask your loan officer. We can get connected. I've already had a few people ask to do some one-on-one meetings, to talk strategy and help grow. So just let us know and we are happy to help you. But otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day.